Well. Good afternoon, John.
Good afternoon, Ben.
And of course, good afternoon, Adam.
Good afternoon.
How are we both today?
Pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah, good. Anything interesting happened in the news in the last 24 hours, guys?
Yeah. Well, you know all about it, don't you?
I have a little bit of an inkling, I do. But John,
We did a cheeky little show last night.
we did. But introduce this show, would you now?
I'd like to thank you all for attending this episode 134 of Chasing Dissent Live. From me, the man formerly in the van and now hunkering in the bunker, and from Ben in the South Coast studio of this fair land that we once called England.
And of course, we are joined once again by the man in the corner himself. His name is Adam, also known as Russell Brand sometimes, but...
No, he's not. He's not known as Russell Brand.
I mean, you should see some of the things he's been doing. It's a
No,
wind
you
up.
shouldn't.
Haven't been doing anything.
He hasn't been doing anything at all. And good afternoon to those of you watching live, no matter what platform you are watching on, be it Twitch or YouTube, or if you're watching back on Rumble. Please, if you might, could you please leave a like on the video and subscribe if you haven't. That's our plea to you, and obviously share this out. Anyway, John.
Ben.
We have a list.
Yes, we do have a list.
Roll VT.
Roll VT.
And what do we begin with here, Adam? What have you got for us here? Well, it's done, isn't it? It's a done deal, isn't it? He could take over as soon as Friday. What do you think? And we kind of got into this last night, but what do you both think has pushed him to actually cancel the court proceedings and go for it at $44 billion or $54.20 a share? Go for it. Yep. Yeah, Horsey Dorsey's been involved since day one, hasn't he? And the other thing that I think may have prompted it is that his personal signal messages were being released because of Discovery, and there were messages between him and Dorsey and him and Parag and him and others, and I'm thinking he didn't want more of these messages being released, and it's cost him $44 billion. Oh, there's no sound. Okay, this updated OBS just doesn't bring the sound back in.
What do you mean there's no sound?
You've got it now.
I am. Oh, that's fucking shit.
It is, yeah. But hey,
yeah.
It's back.
That's shit.
So you think that Jack Dorsey being involved is what's made Elon Musk go through with it?
Part of that, and the fact that I think he's maybe a bit worried about the court case not going his way.
Well, I'm gonna riff on that for a minute, because it seems to me that in the last 18 hours since this was formalized and finalized, thousands upon thousands upon thousands upon thousands of Twitter accounts have just disappeared off the face of the earth. Have you been noticing that?
No.
What do you think's going on there, Adam? Why do you think these accounts are just disappearing?
I actually gained 5 followers, but I've noticed a lot of people losing followers, and the ones I gained were rather dodgy-looking women. So, you know, who knows what's going on? Something's going on.
You know, back when I was on Ministry Dissent, I would get fake prostitutes friending me and messaging me all of the time, and I was just going block, 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 block.
Yeah.
But it does appear that on their way out, they seem to be booting the bots. They seem to be purging all of the bots, and that is very interesting to me. Almost like they knew that they were going to lose.
Yeah.
I don't know. So, anyway, what we have here is Elon Musk buying Twitter is an accelerant to creating X, the everything app. And John, what in your view?
No, and you take this one, Ben, because you were quite excited about this last night. This is what you were asking for.
Yeah, so X, the everything app, in my view, there's no conspiracy behind it. Elon said on the Twitter all hands meeting what he wanted to do with Twitter. He wanted to basically roll YouTube, Twitter, Facebook type social media all into one, give people the ability to monetize their content, and essentially put every piece of social media you could ever need into one app. And I think that this is what he is heading towards, and he's got the money to do it. So
do you think it'll benefit us?
Well, one would hope so. If he stays the course as stated, and the course as stated is that it's going to be censorship free, it's once again going to return to the free speech wing of the free speech party. If he stays the course as stated, then yeah, I think it will heavily benefit us.
It'll be censorship free in as much as you can be within the boundaries of the law.
That's fine, right?
Is it fine? Because the law seems to be overstepping its mark these days.
Well, here in the UK especially, and
and in Scotland.
Well, yeah,
you can't even have a chat round the dinner table about people you don't like.
But hopefully, the law, as it pertains to how Twitter will operate, will be the First Amendment. One could hope so.
Well, no, it won't. Because already it applies different restrictions depending on which country you're in. So, like, for instance, certain people have been banned in France because they failed to comply with the law in France.
That's Adam Brooks, isn't it?
Yeah, so your account gets restricted and it doesn't get shown to people in France. So, that's what I'm saying. The law is too intrusive. It's not just Twitter. It's not just the social media platforms that are the problem here. It's tyrannical and overbearing nanny state governments.
It is your government, absolutely. You're not wrong there. And like I say, one can hope that the idea of a free speech wing of the free speech party, censorship-free platform does adhere to that of the First Amendment. And if we are going to get the still censored, restricted, based upon British law, because British law doesn't like the things that we're saying, then perhaps it's time to up ship and leave Britain, John.
You know what? If I could, I would be out, because
me too.
I'd be asking for asylum.
Yeah, Governor Ron, we're right here.
We need it.
We
Ron
do.
DeSantis.
Governor Ron.
You need us.
You need us just as much as we need you. This is a mutual transaction, and Adam comes in the bargain. He does.
I don't think he would come.
I would. I'd be going and living off grid though, like one of our friends on Twitter.
Yeah. Well, is that really? I love our friend on Twitter. I know exactly who you're talking about, but is that really off grid?
That's not really off grid.
It's luxury off grid.
It's definitely luxury off grid.
It's playing at camping. That's what that is.
It looks fantastic though. It really does.
Oh, don't let me. I mean, if you've got the money, go for it. But
absolutely.
You need to be a fucking millionaire to live like that. You can't go off grid and live like that.
Thankfully, he is a millionaire. So.
Well, exactly. That's why. That's why it's relatively easy for him to go off grid.
Yeah. No, you're absolutely right. Shall we move on to our next story?
Indeed, let's do so.
Right, what do we have next?
So we have Suella Braverman.
Suella Braverman is our new Home Secretary, is she not, John?
Yes, and she's put her cards on the table. She said migrants who cross the channel will be able to claim asylum in the UK.
They will not be able to.
No, she said they will. Sorry. She said no migrants who cross the channel will be able to claim asylum in the UK. So she's putting her cards on the table saying they are coming across the channel, they're not coming by legal means, therefore they cannot claim asylum. Therefore, she has to take on the European Court of Human Rights.
Is she going to do that, though?
Well, that's the question. So she said the time has come to take on the European Court interfering with British political decisions.
And you know what? I
And
wholeheartedly agree.
yes and no. Yes and no, because what? Right, so the problem you have is you then have countries making up their own mind, okay?
Yeah.
Independent of world opinion,
Okay.
okay? So then what stops Britain, for instance, right?
Hmm.
Annexing part of Ireland.
That's called Northern Ireland, John.
No. An extra part of Ireland.
Well, nothing stops it, really, but, you know...
Whoa, hey, you know what? If we're not beholden to any kind of court that would rule over us at all, what stops Britain from creating concentration camps and putting people in it if they catch a cold? See?
Once again, you're not wrong.
I mean, you've got to be careful what you wish for.
Well, I think that maybe perhaps, as we are an independent nation because of Brexit, we should be able to make certain decisions ourselves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so
I think you're right, and I mean I'm probably playing a bit of devil's advocate here because to be fair, these people are not fleeing war.
no.
If they have fled across the entire continent of Europe from where they started, they have not fled a war.
Well, it's not just that, right? Some of the countries that they're coming from, they're very clearly economic migrants.
Of course they are. Yeah, of course they are.
And I've got no problem with economic migration via the correct channels.
If it's done properly.
Yeah, absolutely. Because as we know, people that cross the channel, low-skilled, low-wage workers, drive down wages here at home. That's basic economics. People don't have to...
Yep.
People will say, oh, no, that's not true. It is true.
It is true. I mean, the exact thing happened with lorry driver wages.
Well, of course.
Because Poles were coming over,
Yeah.
taking the lorry driving jobs,
Yep.
working for 6 months,
Yep.
not paying any tax,
Nope.
sending all the money home, and then going back to Poland.
Yeah. No, they
Right,
were.
so they were never caught and never chased, and then they would just rinse and recycle, and that kept lorry drivers' wages at basically minimum wage. Even today, you don't get that. I mean, you only get like something like 15 quid an hour for driving an Arctic.
Mm.
You know,
It's not
unless
good.
unless you're working for somebody like Eddie Stobart or whatever, who tends to employ ex-military and people like that.
Man, have you ever seen the Stobart sort of giant warehouses, the distribution centres? They
Yeah.
are insane. They are huge. Some of the biggest buildings I've ever seen in my life. They've got one up on the way into London if you're coming up from the south, and it's just insane. They must be making a nice wedge of money, put it that way.
I think they do all right. Yeah.
I would say so. I would say so. Now, as Natasha says in our chat, Suella Braverman all talk?
Well, we'll find out. We'll find out soon enough. I mean,
we
Patel was all talk. She really made no difference at all. In fact, she brought in the Navy, who seemed to increase the amount of migrants.
Well, yeah, they became a taxi service, John.
Yeah.
They became a taxi service.
So
Shall we
let's
move
see.
on?
Yeah, let's see what happens.
Yeah, let's move on to our next story. What do you have for us now?
Well, we have.
Let's see if John can pronounce this one.
Well, we have a fashion house has just staged their latest show in Paris of all places,
Oui, Paris!
in what appears to be a pile of mud and a muddy stream.
Yes.
I like that.
Now, I'm not quite sure what the point is.
Well, okay, so I'll play devil's advocate here for a minute. You say you're not quite sure what the point is. Okay. Have you seen fashion shows for the last 20 years? I'm not sure what the point of any of it is.
Yeah, well, I thought the point was to display the fashion, right?
Well, what
'Cause
fashion?
normally-
Have you seen the shit that walks down those catwalks?
Yeah, okay, yes. But the point is you can see it and you can say, yeah, that's shit. And
Yeah.
and there's nothing to distract it apart from the odd boob slip or whatever from some super skinny anorexic model, right? But
You can't say super skinny anorexic models no more, John. This is diversity times.
they're still super skinny anorexic models. You can call them what they are, surely, regardless of the diversity. If you're stating facts, should you be censored for that?
Well, I would say a lot of the catwalks now have diverse models walking up and
we
down.
might have a problem with some of the later slides if I'm not allowed to state facts.
Now, of course, we can state facts. Anyway, carry on.
So yeah, I don't know what the point is, and I mean, it's like, is it to distract from how bad the fashion is? Is it?
Well, what
Is
fashion?
it fashion for mud wearing?
I was going
is
to
that
say,
what it's for?
but what fashion?
That's what I was going to say. Yep.
I don't know.
What do you got for us, Adam?
Well, I was just saying, obviously, I live in Somerset, so this kind of fashion really suits the area around here. It's very farmlandy, and there's a lot of mud. So if they're,
So it's
all
a
coming out in their
shithole.
froggy wellies,
So you're saying Somerset is a shithole?
it's full of mud. Yeah.
It's a shithole. So there you go, people.
Yeah, but
Somerset's a
maybe-
shithole.
But maybe this is also what we like to call in the business foreshadowing. This is the type of world in which you're going to live after Putin and America have their war.
Oh my God, we're all going to live in Somerset. Fuck's sake.
Oh dear. Adam, do
Right.
you like living in Somerset?
Oh, well, it's good as long as you've got a good pair of wellies.
Oh, yep, okay.
Fucking green wellies, no doubt.
So
Right,
what do we got
the
next?
the next slide is a video.
Oh,
Roll
we got a
VT,
video.
Adam.
Just let me know if you can hear this.
Cannot hear it.
Okay.
Just do your share sound with us.
Yeah, will do. I'll stop it.
It's all
Let me
right.
just put it back to the beginning.
It's all right. We are bound to have these
Okay.
technical hitches when we're doing it this new way. So, Natasha says there's nothing wrong with Somerset.
Yeah,
didn't
it's
say-
nice.
Well, I mean, Adam told me it was a shithole.
Yeah, and Adam
He
did
lives
just-
there. I
does.
don't live there. I don't know. I'm only taking
There
what
we
I'm,
go.
what I'm
No,
told.
that's not what you're meant to have done.
That's not what I meant to have done. Okay, let me just...
No.
All I did was tick the share sound button. Let me just do that again.
Just
Share
go
screen.
advanced.
Advanced. That's the one.
That is the
Music.
one.
There we
One.
go. Right, we're there.
Oh,
Let's
dear.
go.
the way
Oh,
you
dear.
want to treat them. And it eats you up. If you are there to do a job as a compassionate person, there are no resources, and you are told persistently on the news that, care homes are being ring-fenced. It's a lie. And I'm sorry, but if you have voted Conservative, you do not deserve to be resuscitated by the NHS.
Hang on.
That is harsh. But I'm
can't say
looking
that.
at these gentlemen.
You wouldn't
and it has
resuscitate
made
someone
me
if they're
so
Conservative.
Angry.
Come on.
So mind blown. Mind blown. Adam, stop sharing sound.
Hold on. Stop sharing. Come on.
It shouldn't be sharing anymore.
There's the man in the. You're still
Yes,
sharing.
I am.
You're
Yes,
still
I am.
sharing sound. Come on. Doop, 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 doop. There we go.
Done.
There we go. Only share sound when we're rolling VTs.
Yep, okay.
So after that technical hiccup, who is the nurse of the year, John?
Well, I actually don't know what her name is. But she's not the nurse of the year anymore because
She's been sacked.
hasn't she just? Next slide.
No, let's not go to the next slide just yet,
Oh.
because well, you can move on if it's about her still.
Well, it's about her, yeah.
Nurse who said Tory voters shouldn't be resuscitated said she has been sacked from her job, is under investigation from regulatory body, and that her life is ruined. Well, boo
it's-
fucking who?
It's another Jackie, isn't it? It's self-destructive. She brought it on herself.
Absolutely,
Why
she
would
did.
you? I mean, you're supposed to be a nurse. You're supposed to be a caring professional. You're supposed to take care for people that are ill and are relying on you, and yet you shouldn't be resuscitated by the NHS if you voted Tory.
I have to say that she should probably be investigated further than just by the regulatory body. I think that every single patient under her care should be investigated as to what happened to them and why.
I think it's disgusting. I just can't comprehend that someone would come out with that. And anyway, are you sure she's a nurse? Well, no, she probably is a nurse. Look at the size of her.
She's done the TV rounds for the NHS before. This isn't her first hurrah. And
God.
She's obviously some kind of, spokesperson, but this woman has misread the room.
What is she wearing? Why is she wearing that?
Well, she's obviously having a go at tinfoil hatters.
Tinfoil hatters, yeah.
Do you think she is a professional troll? Do you think she is actually a nurse?
No, she's a nurse, yeah. Yeah, no, she's a nurse. She's just having a go at tinfoil hatters. She thinks she's cool, just like, the PCR posse, as we like to call them. They're not. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous that somebody should be allowed to go on TV and say that. Obviously, she held these beliefs beforehand, and surely a little bit of a research on who your guest is would help. I'm just saying.
Because it would have to happen on Jeremy Vile's show.
Of course. Good old Jeremy Vine. We love you, Jeremy. We don't really, but we love you, Jeremy.
Speaking about Jeremys.
Ooh, what we got?
We've got another Jeremy next. So he gives us. There's a video as well, but I don't have the video. I haven't put the video up.
Right.
But there is a video, right? And he's giving it the dramatic acting. Okay. Meanwhile, this woman is bringing her shopping home, ready to make dinner.
This is the BBC, isn't it?
This is your license fee at work. This is what you're paying for.
Adam.
Yes.
I'd like you to reenact that for us, please.
What, the lying in the...
Yeah, just pretend you're in a war zone. Go on, that's it. Pretend you're in a war zone. Now pretend bullets are flying around you and bombs are going off.
All right, there we go. Having a drink.
That's about all he needed to do, really, wasn't it? Because you can, like John said, you can very clearly see from this. There's a woman, she's just strolling along. She's got her shopping. He's like, I'm in a war zone! It's so bad around here! Wag the fucking dog.
Yeah.
In a bright pink jumper, says Natasha. I mean, she's quite the target, isn't she?
It's not.
That could have been the lady. It could have been the lady who was carrying all of his filming equipment with him,
No, it's not.
Maybe.
So Beats
That pink outfit and the white hat?
No, because they'd be wearing flak jackets and all that shit as well. Because they're all a bunch of ponces.
So we've got Beats Crates over
about
on YouTube.
making poncy videos that bear no relation to what's actually happening in the world over there.
He asks us if we can Photoshop him on a beach.
Who does?
The Beats Crates on YouTube. I've just said it about 6 fucking times, John.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't listening.
We will do that.
Why? Why would we do that? Are we a Photoshop service now?
Because it's
us,
funny.
we'll do it.
Show
Will you pay
how
us?
easy it is.
If you pay us, we'll do it.
Right, let's move on, shall we?
Oh, I'm fed up giving stuff away for nothing.
And if you'd like to support us, you can do so at patreon.com/chasing descent. Or subscribestar.com/chasing descent, co-fi.com/chasing descent. Or if you would like to personally buy me a glass of wine when I take my kids away abroad for the first time in 5 years, then you can do so at paypal.me/wheeliebricks. And believe me, I'm gonna need that wine. Beach Crate says he'd do it himself.
Yeah, good on you, mate. Well done.
So what have we got here? Science has made us...
What's the Vice up to, right? I mean, have they just gone completely down the woke route?
Yeah, of course. That happened a very long time ago. Back when Vice was cool.
Because one, science hasn't made us do anything. Science tells you things and you make up your own mind.
Absolutely.
Whether you believe that science, the research, the paper, the evidence of your own eyes. It's up to you
Yep.
to decide whether the science is real or not.
Yeah.
Okay? So
Yeah.
science really doesn't tell you things. It puts forward theories and it gives you certain proofs,
Yep.
perhaps. Sometimes it doesn't even do that. And then you make up your mind what you believe in. Okay?
So what is science telling us here, according to Vice?
Well, according to Vice, science is mistakenly telling us that women are weaker than men.
I will tell you. I will lay my cards on the table here and say categorically, women are indeed weaker than men.
Well, genetically,
By and large, yes.
biologically, physically, in almost all those circumstances, women are weaker than men.
It's not sexist to state a fact.
No, it's not. I mean, the women's weightlifting record or something is something like 690.
It's held by Zuby.
Yeah, well, it's yeah, but the women's weightlifting record is something like 690 pounds or something, right?
That's still pretty impressive, to be honest.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. The men's weightlifting record is something like 1,024 pounds, right?
Mm-hmm.
The teenage boys' weightlifting record is 722 pounds.
Yes. Now,
The teenage boys,
listen.
right?
When we
Basically, if you take any teenage boy, right,
Mhm.
and put him against a professional woman athlete, he'll beat them, unless it's something that involves an awful lot of skill. If it's like running or jumping or something like that, he'll beat them, because men are inherently physically stronger than women, and one can see this in the animal kingdom as well. Silverback gorillas are inherently way more stronger, way much more, have more physical strength and are much more aggressive than the female gorillas. So these things happen, and you just have to accept it and live with it. And I've said it before, and I'll say it again: the average, you hit your peak of physical strength at 25,
Yep.
generally, unless you're a lazy bugger. But you generally hit your peak of physical strength at 25, and for both men and women, and a 25-year-old woman has, on average, the same physical strength as a 65-year-old man.
But listen, even this tagline here, right? Look, science has consistently underestimated women because scientists are sexist. I mean, that's freaking ridiculous.
That's ridiculous, because if you're any kind of science, you put forward the data. And this is the part that really pisses me off when it comes to like social media censorship and things, especially over the last couple of years, because you put forward data. Data that's gathered, by government institutions.
Yeah.
By the very institutions that, you're arguing against. And you're using their own data. And then you're not allowed to put forward an argument based on that data.
And the
same thing's going to happen with climate change, because climate change is now, as you know, becoming very much the official narrative as the only source of truth. And we're bang on about the UN again, because they said it. They said it, 3 days ago or whatever?
Yeah.
And this will come back and bite us on the ass, because climate change is going to become a narrative.
Well, yeah,
and you
speaking
won't be
of
able to
which,
question it.
Speaking of which, I have sent off Roger Hallam an email inviting him to come and have a discussion with us about his views, climate change and the like. For those of you who don't know who Roger Hallam is, he is the insane crank behind such groups as Extinction Rebellion, Just Stop Oil, Insulate Britain, this new one about private jets that put shit over a Captain Tom statue and have set themselves on fire. This is all him. This is all his brainchild. Natasha says in the chat, and I want to address this, but feelings and equalities. Actually, I want to say that this kind of rhetoric telling women that they are just as strong as men is actually very dangerous, and can be very dangerous for women, right? Because if women start to, and this is not sexism, if women start to believe this, and let's say they start putting themselves in physical fights with men, because they're like, okay, we can be just as strong as men, scientists are sexist, we're just as strong. The reality of the situation is, 9.9 times out of 10, a woman's not the one walking away from that fight. right?
No, they're not.
And so to tell a woman that she can be just as strong, that she can be just as powerful, and give her that boost, it might sound good in concept, but it could actually get a lot of women hurt, even killed. I mean, Natasha here, who is a mother of many children, says, my boys are far, far stronger than me. And I don't doubt that. And it's not sexist to say that, because males
You'd be disappointed if they weren't.
Well, we're the hunter-gatherers, aren't we? And that's as far...
And you can't undo 40,000 years of evolution
You can't
in a
undo
couple
biology.
of hundred years. You just can't do it. I mean, yeah, it may well come to pass that we will all end up like Wall-E and consigned to chairs that float around.
I think that's almost a given at this point, isn't it?
We can barely walk to the toilet. So yeah, we're basically going to become brains in jars. But yeah, at the moment, men are still physically stronger, and there's nothing you can do about it.
No, exactly right. And with that, Adam, can we have our next slide, please?
You can.
Look who we have here.
Adam,
Look who's come out the woodwork.
Adam, who is that?
That looks like Bill Clinton.
It's Bill Clinton.
Does it look like Bill Clinton, or does it look like Bill Clinton's corpse?
Yeah, well, it kind of does look an animated. It's like a reanimation of Bill Clinton.
I remember Bill Clinton back when he was, getting it under the desk from Monica, and he did not look like that.
Look, mate, we all get older. I mean, look at me.
I know.
I'm the rare exception that proves the rule.
I was about to say, you don't look like your own ball bag, whereas he looks like Bill Clinton's ball bag.
But Bill Clinton must be a fair age by now. But anyway, right, so what's Uncle Bill saying? Uncle Bill is actually going against the Democratic narrative.
Okay.
He says there's a limit. There's a limit to how many illegal immigrants the US can take without causing a massive disruption. And you know what? Uncle Bill's right. He is right.
I mean, he's not right about a great many things.
But he's right about this.
Yeah.
Okay.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman.
So there you go. There you go. So he's speaking out against the narrative.
I see you agree.
I applaud him.
A broken clock is right twice a day. But Adam, I see you agreeing in the chat there with somebody saying it's a clone. Would you please elaborate?
Well, I don't know if you've ever seen Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when one of those pods gets halfway through...
You're not saying it's aliens, but it's aliens.
It could be aliens.
Look at
this. It's halfway.
Right, so you're actually... Your better analogy would be the one out of the Sixth Day, when it was, what's his name, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yes.
And the guy, he pulled the guy out the guy pulled his clone out the clone vat early because he was dying and needed them quickly.
He's half the man
the guy was partially formed.
I mean, look at the face.
A bit like that guy that sings for Erasure. Look, he was pulled out too early as well.
Look at Bill's face in that picture, right?
Yeah. It's a caricature.
Well, it's not that. It's like he's just, got back from a private jet flight to a private island. He looks very happy, doesn't he?
He does look quite happy.
Yeah, he's been. Some flight logs might tell you where he's been. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. Anyway, shall we move on from Billy Boy?
Yeah, let's move on. Shall we move on to Mr. Put?
David Nolan says, "Give a little respect, John," with a wink face.
A little respect to whom?
I don't know. What's Vladimir done?
Well,
is this another case of erasure? Give a little respect.
Yeah. Oh, that's that. Yeah. Well done, David.
Yeah.
Well done.
Where's your 80s respect?
Yeah.
Right. So is this another case of chasing Dissent being right yet again?
Well, I mentioned a week or so ago,
it was more than a week ago,
that his next step looks like a tactical nuke,
and
now everybody's talking up the fact that he's moving a nuclear train near to the border. It is likely to have tactical nukes on it. They're talking about him doing a tactical nuke test. on the border. So he'll blow the nuke up in Russia, right? But near the border with Ukraine. And then it'll be, well, America, what are you going to do about that then?
Hello, America. It is me,
So,
Vladimir.
I
have tactical nuke for you. Yes.
I don't like this. I don't like it. I think it, but it's likely to happen.
Look, over the last nearly 3 years at this point, we've always said to you guys, we don't want to be right, but we are right, and we're always right. So, you know, our record speaks for itself, really, doesn't it?
Does a bit, mate. It does a bit. And then so then we have, I mean, they're all coming out of the woodwork today, aren't they? So we have Glenn Greenwald.
What's
right?
Glenn? I do like Glenn.
Yeah, and he's noted that talks to de-escalate or end the conflict in Ukraine are virtually non-existent.
Yes.
Because the legacy media and political elites have nurtured an atmosphere where to do so is considered unpatriotic. He's right.
Yeah.
He is right, and that's what's happened, and we saw early, and remember again we mentioned this early doors. There was what looked like a viable peace plan. It looked as if there was a perfectly viable peace plan. Everybody looked like they were going to sign on the dotted line and walk away, and this was only about 2 weeks into the conflict.
Yeah.
And then it all got torn up because
Boris Johnson went to Ukraine.
Boris Johnson went to Ukraine and had a word in Zelensky's ear. Yeah. And strangely enough, I don't know if this chap's watching us now as well, because, and if you get ready to share your audio, Adam, because I think we need to listen to what Tucker's got to say, because Tucker's made quite a few telling remarks.
Go on then, let's have a listen to Mr. Carlson.
Here we go.
We will stay silent.
The Biden administration is responsible, either directly or through proxies, for the destruction of the Nord Stream pipelines and the environmental catastrophe and the economic collapse that will certainly follow. That is true. It's done. So the question is, what is it true? And that's the problem. This act leaves us, the United States, with no option but total war with Russia. There is no off-ramp now. There is no way out. We are all in, no matter what that means, no matter where it goes. Are you shocked by this? Was there a vote on this? Did someone ask your opinion? No. But it's been happening for months in slow motion. It's been hidden from public view by the near total blackout imposed by America media outlets. So you probably didn't know any of the details. For example, in March, the Turkish government tried to broker a peace in Ukraine, and they came very, very close. It wasn't reported widely. Ukraine was prepared to guarantee neutrality, meaning it would not join NATO. That's what the Russians wanted above all. And in return for that, the Russian government would withdraw its forces from Ukraine. And that might have been a neat solution. Certainly for the rest of us, the global economy wouldn't need to be destroyed. Nobody would die in a nuclear war. Negotiations to that point advanced to the stage that Vladimir Putin pledged to meet with Zelensky to sign a truce treaty. And Zelensky was ready for it too. And we're quoting, "I'm ready for a dialogue," he announced. But sadly, Zelensky could not act alone. Despite what you may hear on NBC News, Zelensky is not the independent leader of a democratic nation. No, not even close. That is a fiction. Zelensky is a client of the Biden administration, which runs his country. And ideologues within the Biden administration did not want a negotiated peace in Ukraine. They wanted all along, and it's very clear now, a regime change war against Russia, period. So that's what they are now getting.
Keith says that's been happening, you know, behind the scenes and away from view, but all people needed to do was watch this show.
Yes, all they did. I mean, it's almost exactly word for word what we've said over the last few months.
And it's been
I mean, did you get that deja vu feeling listening to him, thinking, I'm sure I've heard that before. I'm sure I've said that before. I mean, not as nicely in the dulcet tones of Tucker Carlson, but
yeah,
you know, we pretty much had this nailed like months ago.
We did, and like we keep saying, it's wag the fucking dog. We've been repeatedly saying. I see Militant Mushroom there says ahead of the curve, Ben.
We always are.
But repeatedly, we've been saying but we're not at war, and all of our governments are acting like we're at war.
Yeah, I know.
Because
They want to be at war.
they want to be at war. They
Yeah.
want to be at war. And so you're being dragged into it. Your children are being dragged into it. Your parents, your loved ones, your brothers, your sisters, your aunts, your uncles, your mums, your dads, all being dragged into a war against your will. A war that, as Tucker said, could have been solved. There were peace deals. There were talks on the cards. But at the last minute, ground zero, if you would call it that, Zelensky said no, because his masters in Washington and his masters in the UK told him to say no.
Indeed. Indeed, they did.
I've got a picture here from Welt. So
Yes,
what
we
about...
do have a picture. We do have a picture from Welt, because this is about the scientific community seem to be coming around to a different viewpoint from what it has been traditionally. They seem to think that there might not quite be as cut and dried as it was. So it's a difficult thing for us still to talk about due to the restrictions placed upon us by some platforms that may wish to censorship you, but there you go.
So this is from Welt. This is a mainstream media news outlet in Germany. It says doubts are increasing in scientific circles as to whether the manufacturer's claims about the mRNA treatments are accurate. Pfizer, BioNTech, and Moderna still refuse to allow independent verification of their data. The data has not been on the table. Well, we knew this. Once again, ahead of the curve. You should, this show is your single source of truth.
This is your single source of truth.
well, maybe not your single source of truth, but definitely
A source of truth.
Far more factually accurate than most of the things you will see on the mainstream media. I'm just saying,
Yeah.
And like
So,
our good friend David says in the chat here, and Pfizer wanted to hide their data for 75 years.
Well, you kind of know why he wanted to hide
Of course we know why. We all know why. Come on.
You know what it is!
That's exactly right, Ben. That's exactly right. Shall we move on?
And then, yes, let's move on. So, our friend Melinda and Bill.
Oh, look! Even Bill looks like a corpse of himself, doesn't he?
Yeah, well, he's never been a particularly attractive man, to be fair.
And Melinda's never been a particularly attractive
man, to be fair. But anyway, so Melinda has said that there was no way that she had her reasons, right? But there was no way she could continue in the marriage of 27 years and 3 children, right? There was no way she could continue in that marriage. And this is a bit... I can't get my head around this.
Listen, Melinda. Jeffrey was my friend, but we try and hide that fact.
But COVID gave her the privacy to do what she had to do to make the break.
So what you're telling me is, because Bill went on his world tour, traveling the world in every country, going, Look, listen here, it's me, Kermit the Frog, and I'm telling you that you can't go back to normal until you do exactly what I say.
Yeah, basically, then she was able to plot and hide the money behind his back before, and then make the move to divorce him.
I mean, so this whole we're still showing a united front thing seems to be a load of bollocks then.
Well, yeah, I mean, apparently they're working together on the foundation, and that gives her the opportunity to process things, get out of my sight, you've been to that island one too many times.
No, Melinda, I did not go to the island, okay? Okay, I didn't.
I was only on the flight logs. I never actually partake of anything.
Listen, there's been there's a fantastic distraction going along where I can go around and tell people that they have to stay in their homes. I mean, the distraction for Bill came at the right time, didn't he?
Oh yeah,
Didn't it? And
did.
remember, ladies and gentlemen, Epstein did not kill himself. Let's
He
move
did
on.
not kill himself. Right, what about Tom? Tom's such a misguided youth, isn't he? I mean, he just puts himself up there to be mocked.
Yeah.
So if you believe the reports, the UK economy grew at 0.2% over the last 6 months or something.
Of course it did.
Yeah. So, right, Tom doesn't understand economics, Ben, because if your economy's growing at 0.2% and yet your inflation rate is what?
Quite a bit higher. Let's say that.
Well, let's just say the inflation rate is what, 7% or something just now?
Yes,
is it?
it's quite a bit higher. Yeah.
Yeah. How much is your economy actually growing by?
It's minus 5%, John.
That's right. So maybe someone can point out to Tom that he's a complete and utter donkey. Yes, the UK economy has crashed, and it's not recovering quickly.
Listen, the UK economy crashed over 2 years ago. This is what people don't seem to understand. What they have done is artificially inflate it with funny money. Right? They've just been injecting money into the system, and people, once again, quantitative easing is not a saviour. All it does is make inflation run away. That's it.
That's all it does. That's all it does.
Yep, exactly. Quantitative easing is all that's happened here. They have been injecting money into your economy for the last 2.5 years for furlough, for track and trace, and I am talking billions of pounds.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So what do you think happens? What do you think happens to every pound that's already there? Oh, it's just going to be worth the same? Your Mars bar's still going to cost 50p? No! No, it's not!
And it's going to be teeny.
It's going to be teeny tiny, and let's go back to the Freddo fucking Frog, because there are still people that are selling that now for 60 fucking p!
60? It's gone up?
In some places, yeah!
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ! And that's not because Cadbury's are greedy and want to make more money. That's because your money is worth less. Your buying power diminished. And all because you sat at home on your asses and said, more money please government, we're scared of a cold.
Yeah. Right, next we have Royal Dutch Shell.
Yes, Shell, come on, tell us. Adam, what's Shell doing?
They're trying to be nice, aren't they?
They are, yes. Shell boss calls on government to tax oil and gas companies to protect the poorest in society.
So they're your friendly oil company.
What's the angle?
Well, what do you think the angle is? They want to rebuild their tarnished reputation, don't they? They want to be the welcoming face of your friendly energy company. No longer an oil company, now they're an energy company, and they'll be branching off into net zero carbon stuff or net carbon zero, or whatever that you call it. Some net zero nonsense.
Well, you know, I for one wholeheartedly trust Shell. I accept them and all other oil companies as our saviour.
But the thing that gets me is people seem to have this big disconnect about oil and what it's used for.
It's used for fucking everything. Sorry.
Almost everything needs oil. And if we don't have oil, we're left grubbing about in the Stone Age.
Adam,
we really are.
You're wearing oil right now, Adam.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're going to survive if they have to tax oil and gas companies, because they don't make much of a profit, do they? So
no. But you see, I mean, this is Shell calling for taxation on oil and gas companies, but telling us that he's an energy company. see, you can see his move there. You can see they're not daft, these guys. So China China gives us a visual representation of what they think happened to the pipeline. And I think that's actually very accurate. I think that's pretty much spot on exactly what happened to Nord Stream, don't you?
I wouldn't want to comment. I wouldn't want to
Would you
comment.
not?
I don't know how to comment without directly saying yes. This is probably exactly what happened. But yes, no, I wouldn't want to. I definitely wouldn't want to say that this is exactly what happened, and this is almost definitely exactly what happened. But you know, I wouldn't want to.
It didn't.
It's just like what the Democrats have done, isn't it? With the
don't worry about it.
I don't know if this is on the list, and if it is, just skip past it in a bit. But the Democrats have been caught paying proxy companies to censor political opponents, haven't they?
Yeah, you know what? I didn't put it on the list because, to be fair, is it news?
Well, no, it's not. But
haven't we known this for years?
But they've actually been caught. The receipts have been found.
Yeah, but again, haven't we known this and seen receipts before?
Yes.
So the only difference is it's slipped into the mainstream this time.
Well, has it really? Because it's being reported by Robbie Starbuck and Chuck Callisto. But what I'm saying is, this is exactly what's happened here. I'm
not convinced by Chuck Callisto.
I'm not. Why? Because he keeps selling pillows.
What's all that about?
It's because of My Pillow. You know what My Pillow is, don't you?
Thread here and then My Pillow advert.
You know what, My Pillow? If you want to give us a link and you want us to shield some pillows for you, at this point, you know, I'm quite happy to do that. You want to buy a pillow with my fucking face on it, you can. You love it. You can give it a hug.
Right. So what I'd like to bring our attention to next is what exactly is wrong with the world as it stands right now. Okay. Because someone posts something and they say, I haven't had one of these for ages. I haven't seen one of these for ages. Can you still get them? Right? And it's a Fry's 5-center.
Yes. Wow.
Which is fine. Absolutely fine. And they've put up an older advert and it looks fine. Okay. And then the first comment is what? I also loved them, but why have you put up an advert that's so deeply offensive? What's wrong with you?
What's offensive about that?
I don't know.
Frilly cuffs. Nobody likes frilly cuffs, do they?
He's playing the drums in a Caribbean steel band. I don't see the problem.
So I can tell you what. I can tell you, without going any deeper, without reading anything, I can tell you what the perceived outrage is here. Is that this looks like a
something that starts with GW.
Well, a representation of blackface.
But it's not black. That's obviously not blackface. I mean, the guy's black.
Look, listen, okay, Adam.
Yes.
Tell us about the sausages in the co-op.
Oh yeah, I was in the co-op the other day, and there was some carnival sausages that were produced. Well, the company's called Black Farmers, and it had a woman sort of reclining back, laughing, a black lady, and it looked like she was having a great time. This was in the co-op.
Where are the sausages from, though?
UK. The UK sausages.
Yeah, the UK sausages.
Why are they called Black Farmers?
They're called the Black.
That's the name of the company.
The Black Farmer.
And they were mango and chili flavour, and they were called carnival sausages.
So they're trading. They're trading on the black carnival atmosphere, which is exactly what Fry's were doing here.
Yes.
Right. And yet. They've got a picture of a black woman. Fry's have got a cartoon, a drawing of a black man playing the drums.
Yeah.
I don't understand why people are too fucking sensitive.
I was going to say I completely understand. Could you zoom in quite possibly on the person making that first comment? Because what color is that person? Is that a white person?
I think it might be.
No, I can't zoom in on that one.
No, I don't zoom in. But I think white people. Hold on, I'll have a look.
But listen,
White people are always the first to fucking complain about these things,
Yeah,
aren't
but is that because of some internalized guilt about their own racism? These people.
That's Ben. It's a Lego Wonder Woman who's made the first comment.
Oh, it's a Lego Wonder Woman, so we simply don't know.
they? Right. So
But,
yeah, but I mean, you know what? That's what's wrong right now, because this perception of racism and everything that's been done, and it's like, you know what? You're not responsible for the sins of your past.
Well, no, you're not responsible for. Okay, listen. You, me, anybody else are not responsible for the actions of anybody except you, me, and anybody else. Maybe our children, right?
Exactly.
But we are not responsible for what any other person might have done. I owe nobody reparations. Nobody owes me reparations, because remember, the Barbary Coast pirates did exist, and they probably took our ancestors into slavery just as much as anybody else.
Traditionally, I think there's been more white people as slaves than there ever has been black.
Well, yeah, but that's not the narrative,
I know
John.
it's not the narrative.
And does that mean that I'm excusing black people being taken into slavery? Absolutely
No.
not. No human being should be taken into slavery. I mean, there are plenty of black slaves right
to
now
be
across the
fair-
Middle East. They
To be
exist.
fair, mate, to be fair, everybody that's working for someone is effect a slave,
Yep.
because all they're doing is trading their time for reward.
Yeah.
You know, and even slaves, that's all they do. They trade their time for a reward, because they work and they get fed and clothed and housed for it. So in real terms, what's the difference between being fed, clothed and housed, or being given money for you to go and buy your own food, clothing and
To
housing?
be fair, your employer can't actively murder you now, whereas they could before.
To be fair, you would never actively murder your slaves anyway, because that's not a proper business model. Because if you murder your slaves, they're not going to work. You don't have them to work for you.
Listen, let's not excuse the slavery of the past in any way, shape, or form.
I'm
It was
not
abhorrent.
excusing slavery. What I'm saying is, everybody that's working for someone right now is in effect a slave to the wage. So they're effectively a slave.
Yeah, no, I can definitely see where you're coming from, and yes, in fact, I would say things like your mobile device keep you enslaved, right?
Well, I know who really keeps you enslaved. Your government.
Yeah, of course they do, and they want you dependent. They want you a good little bot, a good little drone, a good little slave, and that's all school really does these days, isn't it? Or all it ever has done is prepare you to be that drone, prepare you for the work life, and like David Nolan says, the slave trade is well and truly back since 2011 Coalition of the Willing in Libya. There are black slave markets in Libya and other Middle Eastern countries
Of
right
course there are.
now. And
But those
are the people that need help. That is the slavery we should be focusing on.
Yes, I mean, there are slaves active. There are slave markets active in these countries, and the thing is, there always has been. These are the people that have been most active in slavery.
Yeah, but the thing is, those sorts of places are overlooked by these woke Westerners, by these woke white people that want to talk about.
Yeah, because you know what? You know what comes out of those places?
What's that? Oil. But no, the other reason is that these people, these woke activists that want to go around having these massive rallies and talking about the things of the past, and want to do just that. They want to talk about the things of the past. They don't want to actually fight an action against an injustice that is going on as we speak.
No, because it's brown on black. That's
It's the same as why the climate activists, for example, will not fly to China and go and protest there. They will not do that because they'll probably end up in the concentration camp with the Uyghurs.
Of course they would. Anyway, so shall we move on?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, let's move on. Right, so have you heard of the movie Bros?
Oh, I have.
Right, so this is well, you say it all the time, don't you? What is it you say, Ben, about going woke?
Well, this is an example of Universal Pictures, I believe, getting woke and going broke, or at least losing a massive amount of money on this movie.
And this this guy's blaming straight people for its flop. Could it maybe just be that it's just not a good movie?
Well, I don't even think it's that, right? And you know what? I actually think there could be an element of truth in his statement that it's straight people that didn't turn out to see this movie. And I'll tell you why, right? And it's not homophobia, by the way, because when straight people go to the cinema to see a romantic... First of all, a romantic comedy is probably generally aimed at middle-aged women, right?
Yeah.
Middle-aged straight women. They're the people that go out and see the afternoon matinee performance of the romantic comedy. And they might go and see the morning performance while the kids are at school or something like that. This is just the reality of the situation, the reality of these Hollywood flicks. And Hollywood know this. Of course they know this. So, they've made a woke LGBTQ WXYZ alphabet romantic comedy, which is fine.
Yep.
Right? But they've released it to theatres, and its primary audience, who want to go for a bit of escapism, might not be getting a bit of romance in their lives, want to go and see a romantic flick on the big screen, a romantic comedy, imagine themselves in that situation, have a bit of escapism. You're not going to get that from this.
No, you're not.
And they've gone, well, what's in it for me?
Yeah.
And so they're not going out and seeing it. It's not homophobia. It's simply that you've made a movie in a demographic that's not going to come out and see it.
And it's not even that. You've made a movie for a niche demographic that is a lot smaller than you're led to believe it is.
Yes. And
so there's just not the people available to go and see it. So
well, no.
They're never going to recoup the money on this.
And you know what? It might be a good movie. It might be a crap movie. It doesn't really matter because you've put it into a demographic, a release window, a release category where you know your primary key audience are middle-aged straight women who aren't getting enough at home. And they're not gonna want to come and see this. And I'm sorry to sound so harsh, but it's not homophobia. It's just you haven't made a story for them to go and get some escapism.
It's bad. It's bad marketing.
Yeah. Now, is there a problem with including making movies for these types of audiences for LGBT people? Absolutely not. Make movies for them.
Yeah, but don't spend a fortune on it and then expect to make the money back, because you won't.
Well, no, and it's, do you know what? So I'm going to address David Nolan. He says, classic trick, framing the micro as a macro trend of demographic, then come to the outrage after they waste the money on the production to try and recoup losses. Yes, but also at the same time, they make these movies, and it's not just this, it's the upcoming Little Mermaid, it's the upcoming Snow White, it's all of... They make these movies, the all-female Ghostbusters, so that they can court the outrage, because they think the outrage in itself will sell the flick.
It's not just that. It also does wonders for their ESG score.
Absolutely. Adam, are you off this weekend to go and see Bros at the cinema starring Billy Eichner?
Sorry, Ben. I was just reading the Wikipedia plot line for this movie, and it sounded so boring that I fell asleep.
Oh, go on. Give us a little rundown.
I don't even want to. It sounds so rubbish. It's just... He's got some sort of like podcast, a radio show, and...
Oh my God, it's about us, Ben. It's about us.
Somebody's in the audience that he says is boring, and then somebody donates some money somewhere, and it's a bit... It just reminds me of like...
real life.
Yeah.
Fuck it, it's about us,
Not
Ben.
even as exciting as that, John. Come on.
Right, bro. That's us. That's us coming to the end of our little skit. We do have. I've got a video at the end. You don't actually need to share sound for this one, Adam, if you don't want. But it's like
Is this the gravity
the
jetpack?
Jet suits.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
These look like so much fun, don't
yeah,
they?
they look like fun, but why? Why would?
Are we ready?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay.
Yay.
Yay.
I've- Right, cut.
Okay, so this is
Right.
this is a British company called Gravity Aviation, isn't it?
Yeah, so our aircraft carrier made it to New York at last, and then these guys flew off it, flying the flag for this company. Now, I'm just trying to figure out what's the point
So I tell
from
you,
a military perspective. What's the point of these things?
so I'm telling you what I know. What the application they're trying to sell them to the military right now is. So what they are demonstrating is that you can transfer personnel from a small boat to a massive boat in a matter of seconds, rather than dropping ladders and having to do all this crap and do it in a matter of minutes/hours. And yeah, it's absolutely right, and it's awesome, but at a cost of £250,000 a suit and a max flying time of 3 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, I can't see a military application for these.
Not until you can
Not
fly
until
them
you
for
can do
more
a
than
proper-
3 minutes.
Not until you can do a proper Iron Man job. First of all, those guys are setting targets,
Yes.
right? Give me a sniper rifle and you take them both out within like 10 seconds,
Yeah,
right?
and if you get them from behind, you shoot the backpack and
Boom, yeah,
Boom.
jet fuel gone, right? So, bad idea.
Mm.
Secondly, you're not sneaking up on anyone because they're noisy as fuck.
Do you want one of these gravity jet suits, though, John? They do look like fun, don't they?
They look like fun, but 3 minutes you're gonna have you. I tell you, if you think you've got range anxiety when the petrol light comes on in the car, you've only got 3 minutes in this thing, and you're flying out over the water. You'd be like, "Holy fuck! I'm £250,000 in my back, and I'm gonna lose it."
Yeah. And that's it. You can, if as a member of the general public, a Dino, you could probably go and buy one of these right now. They're £250,000, and they'll teach you how to fly them as well. But they are just that. They are a niche, aren't they? They're a rich man's toy.
They're not a
And-
military. There's no military application for them yet.
But they do look like good fun, don't they?
Oh, they look like good fun, but there's no military application.
No, once you can fly them for 6 hours.
Yeah,
Then-
and they're quiet, and they're fast, and
Well-
it's Iron Man.
Well, I will
then
say
maybe-
this. They are currently building, and I know this because I know about this company, they are currently building an electric model. So without any jet fuel. And they're going to have electric rotors. And it's going to be like you're on a giant drone, essentially.
Yeah.
I don't
It
think...
sounds
they're gonna-
like one of those Da Vinci rotating flying devices.
It sounds like a recipe for getting chopped.
Yeah. No, I think you could be right. Because in order to make the rotors big enough, well, for flight, they're going to have to be huge, right?
Yeah, to hold up a £200 man. Yeah,
Well, they're not going to be able to force them into those hand units, put it that way.
No.
No. So there's going to be something else. Though I believe they are also, or other companies are building a jet bike as well. That should be fun. It looks like fun.
Yeah,
It all
yeah.
looks like fun, to be honest.
It looks great.
And I've always said, I will know when I have made it, when I can safely purchase either a fixed wing or a paramotor trike. They're about 6 to 10 grand.
You know what, mate? See, once you're scooting in your jet bike over the godforsaken nuclear landscape that's been left behind after this recent excursion, then you'll know you've made it.
Yeah. So David Nolan says, "Did you guys see this?" It says, from Telegraph.
We
spoke
covered that
about
at
it
the
on the
start.
top of the show, yeah, because we
Yeah.
started half an hour early today. Our apologies for that. We did start at 12:30 instead of 1 o'clock. And also our YouTube analytics. I will say this has been annoying me because I've been monitoring the YouTube analytics, And when I know for sure that there's at least 3 people from YouTube chatting all at once, it's been telling me there's 1 person on.
Oh, that's strange.
So I don't think they're going to be correct for today.
Yeah. Anyway, so with that,
Yeah.
shall I say thank you, one and all, for attending this episode 134
Well, before
of
you
Chasing
do that,
Dissent Live.
before you do that, you got to sell them the Patreon and stuff again, ain't you? I mean, I know you're getting on a bit, but memory, John, you're not Joe Biden yet.
Yeah, I'm not Joe Biden yet. So if you can be bothered giving us anything, which we would actually really appreciate it, because nobody pays. If you could be bothered, you could maybe take yourself along to patreon.com/Chasing Dissent, or if you are of a Russian persuasion, subscribestar.com/Chasing Dissent.
That one as well, yes.
Or even better, if you go to Ko-fi, which is ko-fi.com/Chasing Dissent, because they don't take a cut. They give us everything. You pay a $5, they give us a $5.
They give him a $5.
Oh, yeah, but I give you £2.50.
When?
Well, when we get more than a $5.
No, yes, we would really appreciate it. And as I've stated before, and I'm going to continue to state throughout this week, I am away next week for the first half of the week because I am taking my kids abroad. I'm driving them to France for the first time in 5 years. So there is also a little PayPal link in the chat there. If you want to buy me a glass of wine while I have to deal with kids abroad, you can do so at paypal.me/WillyBricks, and I would really, really appreciate it. Now, where I'm going, a French glass of wine costs €12, so it's going to be a very expensive night out. So any help towards drowning my sorrows, greatly appreciated.
Then just go to the fucking supermarket and buy a bottle.
There isn't a supermarket nearby.
You told me there was an Auchan nearby.
It's kind of nearby.
You've got a car.
Yeah.
Stop at the supermarket before you get there and buy some wine.
Yeah, I could
I mean,
do
remember,
that, or I could just go to the
litre-
bar.
Well, don't go to a bar because then you'll pay more. But a litre of wine in
Well,
the
then buy me a
supermarket
glass
was
of
like
fucking
€1.
wine, John.
Fucking hell.
On that note,
fucking knob.
Adam, I love you.
Apologies for them too.
I don't love you so much now.
I just can't carry on in this fucking relationship anymore. You've just been to that island once too often.
Bye now.
Bye.
That's all we've got time for this evening, so it's good night from me. And it's good night from him. Good night. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, Mama. Good night, Daddy.
Stop playing with my bust!
Good night, everybody.
Good night, children. Good night, Daddy.
You're a what?
A pianist!
Mwah! Good night, everybody.
You have been a delightful audience to talk. Good night. Thank you.
Oh, my bottom hurts. Good night, everybody.
Good night, Elizabeth.
Good night, John Boy. Good night, Jim Bob.
Oh, I did love that hamster so. I took it into bed with me every night, you know.
Good night, everybody.
I think, ladies and gentlemen, I think I have to go now. I've been standing here for a very long time. I think the end of the show must have come and gone.
There you go. That's our solar system. You forgot Uranus. Good night, everybody.
Thank you for listening. You've been very nice to work to.
Good night, Jim Bob.
Good night, Jim Bob.